guess what? It's freaking Friday night, bitches. That's right. It's time for the Skeptical Help Bar. It's time for some science and skepticism and paranormal and drinking, because that's what we do Friday nights. Look at everyone in the house. We got a lot of people. This might be a touchy subject, that got some people spurred into coming out. So we got Daniel and Robert and Daniel, and we got Greg, and we got Megan and Shauna. We got Jossie. What's up, Jocelyn? Jason. Let's see what you got. All right, let's see what we got. Donna's in the house, because Donna's always in the house pulling double duty. And we got Sarah. We got a lot of people coming in. JD Sword, what's up? So tonight we are getting, it's going to be a different kind of show tonight. It's going to be a little different. I'm going to go over the rules and then in a bit, but I want to say, yeah, it's going to be different because it's usually I have one guest. I think I've had a show where I had two guests on, and this time we're going to have four other guests at least, maybe more throughout the night. And we're going to be talking about a group of ghost hunters. I would say, I think that's safe to say, going out to a place and they had some issues with the location, and it was brought up, and we're going to discuss it. So this is going to be a learning show. It's going to be not bashing a place, not bashing any people. I want to make that clear from the beginning. We're going to be talking about it because I think that's something that we do here. We do here on this show, and we also do it on 3TS, Three Tortured Souls, which, by the way, Dave and Tim are here. They're going to join us tonight. But we talk about this kind of stuff a lot and look at the environment, look at flaws in reasoning and methodology and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is going to be a good learning show. It's going to be a discussion. So whether the people that were involved on the other side that aren't here watch this later or live, I don't think they're going to be upset by it. Hopefully, maybe they learn a thing or two about this and be able to rectify the issues that are being brought up. There was something else I wanted to say, but I totally forgot. So let's go on with the rules. Jade Kitten is in the house. All right, so the rules. Rule number 1 is you are welcome to ask questions. That's what this is, a learning show. Even though there's going to be a lot of people and we're going to be discussing, it's going to be pretty much a roundtable discussion. You can put questions in the chat room, and Donna is on hand to point them out and put them up on screen so we can address them too. Please remember, rule number 2 is that I don't know everything. It's painfully obvious, to be honest. I mean, it's painfully obvious I don't know everything, but neither do any of the guests. We know a lot of things about different things, a little bit about everything, something like that, somewhere in between, but we don't know everything. So if we say I don't know, we're being honest, and we'll look it up. I have a notepad here. Donna's got a notepad. Yeah, she's got a notepad, so she'll take notes, and we'll get back to you later. Rule number 3 is that we follow the Patrick Swayze rule here. That's be nice until it's time to not be nice. But basically, be in the chat room. You can debate, you can discuss, you can disagree. That's fine. That's all part of how we progress. But if it devolves into name calling or insults or just stupid shit, then you're going to get booted. I don't feel like dealing with it, and I just won't. So Donna has the power. Poof, you're gone. Rule number 4. She's gonna poof you. We need to have an animated GIF that comes up and goes poof. Somebody just went. Somebody gone. I don't know who it is, but they're gone. Rule number 4 is that if you do have a question, please do us a favor, put a Q in front of it before your comment, and that makes it easier to point out and to pick out of all the comments going through, especially because we're up to 30 people now watching, and it's going to go through a lot. And rule number 5, if you're inclined to drink up. This is a bar after all. So there you go. That's the rule rundown. So I'm going to switch back here. I'm going to see. I might have to take the frame off because I'm not used to having this many people on. But I'm going to switch the comments. Oh, there's a lot of people in the house. Barry Martz, Anthony Holmes. Wow, Jake Hitton. All right, so let's bring on some people here. First, I'll bring on Taryn, because she is our guest. What's up, Taryn?
Hello.
And then we got Mike, right? Mike?
Yes, sir.
And we got Dangerous Dave and Tim.
Dangerous
there we go.
Dave.
There. Oh, Tim's in the middle. Look at that. He's special.
Dave, you gotta put your name, Dangerous Dave.
Yes, I do need to change that.
Yeah, it's better than Chevy Chase. Anyway, all right. So we are here for a reason. Basically, this was going to be an open mic night for everyone to ask questions if they wanted to. But we were talking, Taryn, and you brought up an issue with a recent investigation that you did. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to just talk about things. So give us an overview of what we're talking about.
So this past weekend, I had organized an investigation with, and I can't remember exactly when it was, but I want to say maybe in between the October, December timeframe, maybe even earlier than that. No, it was before December because I had to pay in full by the end of December. So it had to have been like October, November. But Hell House LLC, the Waldorf Estate of Fear, just recently I was told I came, Larissa Rex came to me, who is running, she said she was going to be running paranormal investigations out of there to to teams after the first of the year, or after the 14th of the year. And she said, do you want to be the first team that goes in? And I said, yeah, why not? That would be cool, So I asked the Peaches, and they said, yeah. A lot of people have seen this movie, The Hell House, and I have not. So I don't know anything about this place at this point.
Okay. I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, some of the Peaches have seen it. So and there's been people that say, oh my gosh, that's where this movie was filmed. I want to go there, and they do a haunted attraction, blah, blah, blah. So I've never seen the movie. So they were in. So, our investigation was January 28th. And we were told that we were the first group to go in there. I posted we were going there, and people were asking. Some people were saying, "What was that?" And there, I said it's a haunted attraction where there was a movie film, blah blah blah. I kept getting corrected about the haunted attraction part by the people that work there or own it or run it.
What do you mean by correct?
My understanding, that's what it is. It's a haunted, at this point in time. To my understanding, it's a haunted attraction that they were now starting to open up for people to do paranormal investigations there privately for groups. I did expect to go into an empty place because there's a lot of places that do haunted attractions during the Halloween season.
Right.
And then when you go in there, it's just a normal environment, a normal place.
Right.
You mean like I was being told it's not a haunted attraction.
You mean they clean up everything?
Right.
So they usually clean up the place, like of the decorations and the haunted attraction stuff. So you have an empty space. Okay.
Correct. And and maybe I misunderstood, but the owner's like, you're walking into an abandoned hotel. It's not the haunted attraction. It's an abandoned hotel. Maybe I misunderstood her, but I was, like I said, walking into like a cleaned up, whatever, stuff from an attraction. And we got there. We run it. We were supposed to be there from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And we got there. And the first thing I was told was, I said, I got a high tired. And then it was, by the way, this isn't a haunted attraction. I just want to stress that. I said, oh, okay. And we had to sign waivers. So we get in there and, for Mike was a little bit more,
calling you out, Mike.
No, I'm not calling him out, but he like, I didn't see, he did a live with the group that runs the paranormal investigations before this happened. And I didn't see it. But they had asked him to review evidence that they caught on video. So Mike I opened it up to Mike because I had lost a couple people. Like some of the Peaches wound up not being able to go. Okay. So then I said, okay, I had to find a couple people more. And I asked Mike if he wanted to come. And Mike wanted to come because he wanted to see, actually, because they showed him an evidence of a door swinging open. So he wanted to go to see this area that they had him review.
Okay.
And right away he said his question. I can't speak for you. You can tell your part. But so him and Eric, his other teammate that were there, you know, they were on a different mission than I was. Like I said, I didn't know what I was walking into, but there were Halloween props everywhere in every room. Strobe lights on.
They were on, like
on.
strobing,
yes. And then we were in one room, and this really like kind of called the night for me. But you know, we were in one room and I was plugging my heater in. I unplugged their heater because they had these little heaters plugged in in some of the rooms that have electricity. Not all of the rooms have electricity. And I unplugged their heater and I plugged mine in. And was it you, Mike, that noticed like the cord going into the
Yo, first of all, you can't just call that thing a regular heater. This is like industrial size, like astronaut moon landing backpack. I mean, it was massive. This thing
freezing in there. It was colder in there than it was outside.
Yeah, so there was a plug that plugged in the small like toaster heater that they had for this big room, and it was so cold. So she was unplugging that, and I guess it was just like kind of a weird angle.
Okay.
But there was another plug that was plugged in there, and I was under the impression that like there's no electricity apart from that, so there's really no other reason to have any other plug-in. So I was kind of curious, is that like a lamp or something that's into the closet?
Okay.
And so I traced the line back into the closet, and there was, you know,
say it.
Yeah, there was a box,
a talk box
that was underneath some clothing that was inside the
closet,
in the closet, and the red light was on. It was on.
So when you say talk box, you mean like an intercom?
Yeah.
I guess I've never seen one before.
Well, no, Angela, because Sabrina had put up a post. What is this?
Okay.
She took a picture and put it up, and Angela, the owner, responded, "It's a talk box that is used during the haunt season, so that the people in a control, they call this room a control room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They can talk back and forth to the haunt actors that are in the rooms.
So it's two-way.
It's two-way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's what, you know, and then I said, wow, I said, this just keeps like, there was no way. I mean, we were walking through, I'm not a big equipment user. People know that, you know, but there are people that do use equipment, and there are people there that had things they wanted to use, like an SLS camera, this and that. And we were recommended to point the SLS camera at the ceiling during this walkthrough.
Sorry, I don't like that. I don't like the SLS.
I know, I don't like this stuff either, but I'm just saying some people do use this stuff.
Yeah, I know.
You know, okay. So like you can't use that there because there's mannequins, there's everything everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can't use that. You know, your recorder's out because you don't know what you're hearing. You don't know if you can't rule out that something isn't coming from, like, what if they hit a button by accident? What if, you know, with those talk boxes on, you don't know where if you get an EVP or if I hear, because I even said before we found the box, I thought I heard an electronical hey. And I asked them if any of their equipment, when it goes off, could it sound like that? You know, and they were like, no, we really don't have anything that would make a sound that would sound like the word hey. You know, I said, okay. And then we found the talk box after. So, you know, I mean, like your first impression of that, you're like, oh, you know, like very disappointed, whatever. But then I'm like, you know, I can't prove that it did come from that. I don't even know if I definitely did hear, you know what I'm saying? It's like I talked myself through it.
Right.
But at that point, I'm like, okay, so I can't use a recorder. And also they have cameras everywhere. So while they're in this control room, there were four of them or five. I can't remember, 4 or 5.
4, I believe. Could be 5.
5 what?
People.
So it was Larissa and like three other people from her team in this control room.
Okay. That
these talk boxes go to, and then they have cameras everywhere. And I get why they have the cameras. Like I'm not saying anything about that, but they can hear and see everything.
So the cameras, the cameras themselves. Now I'm going to ask. This is more of a technical question. Like, did you confirm that they record audio as well?
Yes, they do record. Okay. So the evidence that they showed me in the podcast prior to us going was the door opening and shutting.
Okay.
Whether that was caught from one of the actual CCTV cameras that they have up on site, I don't know, but you can very clearly hear the door creak.
Yeah, you hear people
closing.
walking, you can hear footsteps.
Right.
So yeah, that's usually like with that you get into because most surveillance camera sets that you get, they are capable of audio recording. Usually on like there's usually like 2 openings when you have like a 8 or 16 camera system, but it's usually with something like this, you need permission in order to get audio samples, because then you get into wiretapping laws, which you can't fuck with. That's why you can't record audio unless everybody knows it.
Right, which I don't know though if that is actually applicable in Pennsylvania.
There are federal laws
for wiretapping.
Well,
I don't know. Also,
But what are they using? I guess what are they using it for? If it's for surveillance and security, they're everywhere in every building in the U.S.
Right.
I mean,
right. But even like hotel systems, they don't record audio because they can't. They're not allowed. And that's to help prevent from overhearing conversations, especially for employees. You can't set up a camera at the water cooler and record everyone's conversation, because then you can use the audio against them.
I'm not sure if it was if there was a clause in the waiver that covered that.
That's what I was getting at too.
I do know that we had to sign a waiver. It was
well,
more
it,
like
if not, they might want to put one in there.
Yeah, it was said to us, this waiver is just so you guys don't sue us if you get possessed.
What?
That's interesting.
Well, that's what she said. I don't know if that was in the
now,
waiver.
could she be joking? But I don't know.
What you're saying is you didn't read the waiver. You're just like,
I just signed it.
Because it was like when you sign during a haunted attraction, at Eastern State, when you just sign it. Like,
but you still read it. Like I
don't read that shit.
I read that shit. Like when I went to Zach Baggins' museum, I read that shit.
Well, I would read it.
I would read that one too.
I took pictures of it. I have pictures of both sides, but I don't just sign things like that. I always.
It would take me way too long to read, because it looked exactly like Eastern. It was like all this small writing. It was like,
But you have to remember now, like when you sign something like that, it could have a clause in there saying because Zach has this in his waiver, that any footage they get of you, they can use in any capacity. So I don't want people using footage of me for their commercial or promotional material. For a haunted house or something like that. I just don't want it. So that's why I read through.
They won't be using it.
I mean, they probably won't use you.
Whatever it is they caught. I don't.
They probably won't use any footage of Kenny in a haunted house to promo.
All you're gonna get is like, that was me. That was me at the Bel Air house in Ohio. I passed out. I was asleep.
So they have 4 people in the control room.
Yeah.
And I mean, I looked at the outside. I looked at like Google Street, and looked at it. It doesn't look that big. That's not a mean thing to say. It just doesn't look that big. So I'm wondering, did that present a problem with hearing them?
Yes.
We heard everything.
Yeah, we heard everything. We even heard like when a text message would go through, you would hear the ring that it makes when a text message goes through or receives.
Well, so where we found the talk box at initially in the first room, Paul's room, I guess is what it was called.
Yeah.
Right next to that, like half a floor down, is the control room. So like while you're walking up the stairs to Paul's room, you pass by the room to that control room. So you could, we were hearing them having conversations, and it was really hard for us to distinguish. And Taryn has like bionic ears, by the way. So she hears things that we don't hear, but
like there was they whispered to each other, him and Eric. And I said, did you guys just whisper? And they were like, how the hell did you hear that?
Yeah.
We were in another room.
Right. We were in a different room.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an issue because we were also hearing equipment going off in the basement. And we were also hearing like this random beeping sound that I guess nobody else heard. But we were all hearing this random beeping sound from something that was going on.
Was it like a single beep?
Yeah, it was just a beep like every other like few seconds, but it wasn't like a fire detector. It wasn't like a fire detector or a CO2 detector beep. No, it was like it almost was like a REM pod beep.
Yeah, it sounded like a piece of equipment beeping.
Right. But they didn't hear it. Yeah. So I mean, like, look, for me, I genuinely enjoyed the experience of being, especially like on the set. I thought that was really cool. Right. My goal of going there was because I was presented with this piece of evidence and I was genuinely curious about the area of evidence that I was shown, because if it was the way it seemed in the podcast, then that is a great piece of evidence. If it wasn't, then, you know, it's debunked. Does that mean the place is not haunted? No. But does it mean it is? No. Right. So like here we are in the beginning as investigators, we have to determine what's legit to investigate, right, and what's not. And I just didn't have the experience, you know. Okay.
So I want to address this real quick. I'm going to put this up. Angela is in the chat room. Hi, Angela. I didn't reach out to Angela per se, because I did reach out to Larissa, who's out of the country, and I also spoke with Sky, who was part of their team. She was going to come on, but then she said she had a personal event, so she couldn't make it. And she did inform me. Both of them informed me that Angela was out of the country. That's why I did not reach out to you, Angela, because I figured you couldn't make it anyway. So I wasn't going to bother you. It wasn't that I was trying to hide this or anything, because I did reach out to people. I did schedule this beforehand and then reached out to people. I know it was short notice, so the offer's on the table. I mean, you're welcome to come on at a later time and we can discuss it. I'm not going to shy away from that, but you're more than welcome to come on and address any of the issues. Actually, I mean, the issues that are being brought up, I hope you can address with both Taryn and Mike, and I don't know, come to some kind of resolution. That's the point of the show, is to address these topics. And oh, okay, no thanks. All right.
Well, she also said she can confirm that there were no strobe lights, but we took pictures and you can see the strobe lights on in the picture.
Well, so like, you know, you hear strobe lights is like the white flashing light that's flashing.
Oh yeah.
It's a different kind of strobe. It was a light that was coming on and fading out and coming on. It was changing colors. And
there were no strobe lights on. The power is cut to most of the hotel. We do leave lights on.
The door wouldn't shut. The door was it wouldn't shut all the way.
We couldn't shut. So we couldn't like block out any of that, like that blinking light from the.
So there was a blink. I guess maybe that would be the more proper way to say it. Blinking light.
Different colors. It was blinking different colors, and they were all over.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, on the stairwells and in the hallways and stuff. In some of the hallways.
And in some of the rooms, in one of the rooms, so we took a picture, and like, so we couldn't take any pictures. I mean, we could take pictures of the place, you know, and like Mike said, don't get me wrong, I don't know, I never saw the movie, so as a haunted attraction, it's a cool place, you know what I mean? I never saw the movies. Walking through is definitely creepy because there's mannequins everywhere. There's like skeletons and mummies and people hanging and intestines hanging from the ceiling and, you know, all this stuff. But anything like that's going to be interference. And then, you know, my other thing is, and Mike can probably, you know, comment on this because I think you guys ran into him, but one of the people in the control room said that they saw a curtain moving and walked out of the control room, walked all through the house to go see if they saw anything. But had they did not run into him, nobody would have known that happened. So if I have my recorder going and I hear footsteps and I ask everybody, did you guys move? Did you guys go anywhere? Did you guys walk around? And they all say no. And I never knew that this guy came out of the control room and, you know what I mean, walked around. Right. And, I mean, that would have, I mean, it's just so there's so much contamination and so much interference.
Yeah.
We just couldn't do the investigation. So I can't say I didn't feel it. You know, I can't say that there's anything there. You know, all these people say there's something there, but we weren't given the chance to investigate it the way we thought, you know, we should be able to investigate it. You know, I mean,
yeah. it just wasn't. I don't think the conditions were optimal for a proper investigation. I think maybe that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
The conditions were just not optimal. So
I mean, just going off of what you guys are saying and some of the pictures that I saw, it just looks like this would not be a place. I mean, it's
creepy. It's definitely got a creep factor.
Yeah, and that's part of it. And we're definitely going to get into that part. And I think I'm hoping Dave and Tim will have something to say about that too. But from just my perspective, going off of what you guys have given me and looking at the pictures of the place and stuff, it's not a good place to do any kind of serious investigation. And again, from my perspective, I'm definitely more on the skeptical side and more on the scientific side. I don't do TV ghost hunts. So when we talk about TV celebrities coming in and enjoying it, like, I'm sure they enjoyed it. That's great. I don't consider TV ghost hunters investigators. I see them more as actors. And ghost hunters, I don't see anything scientific or proper investigative techniques from them. So I don't consider that valid. But having mannequins set up in a place with a light, whatever kind of light it is, I don't know if it's a strobe light or just a color light, whatever
any
it
kind
is,
of light.
and then having these talk boxes, intercoms, I'm sorry, throughout the place, and having at least one on, they're red flags to me. I mean, they're big red flags. I wouldn't like going into a place and having intercoms on. I get that it's a haunted attraction. Like, I understand that. It's a haunted attraction. That's what it's advertised as on the website. So, and it looks like it's getting great reviews. I mean, it looks like it's a wonderful place, and that's pretty cool.
Oh, I'm not taking anything away from the haunted attraction.
No.
Right,
Yeah, I have
Not
heard
at all.
nothing but great things. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that
I'm
kind
not
of environment, that breeds. I mean, if you're talking about, hey, you're going in there to see if the place has some kind of evidence or data to show there's an afterlife, you're already going in an environment that's built to cause fear, to promote fear in someone, that's built on like a horror movie, built on this fear factor, if you will. Not that I want to reference that show, but and then you go in and there's no controls. There's no controls. I mean, you can have lights going on. If camera flashes, you see mannequins, different camera. If somebody takes a flash picture in one room and the light bounces around and off a mannequin and causes a shadow in another room, then someone's going to think that they saw a shadow person. There's a lot of flaws with investigating, quote unquote, investigating a place like that. I wouldn't consider that an investigation at all. And I'm not trying to be mean here. And I know some people are probably going to take it that way, but that's the honest truth. It's not a controlled environment whatsoever.
No, definitely not.
And not every environment's perfect. You're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but that was, I couldn't even use my recorder. It was just everything. We couldn't investigate. I mean, I don't know what time you guys left, but you guys left pretty early. You guys left around 8:30.
I think we were only there for like an hour and a half, man.
Yeah. And then Jossie left at 10, and we wanted to leave, but we was kind of like, okay, we'll go to the attic for a little bit. And we literally just, nobody, even in the attic, there was mannequins up there and intestines hanging from, and like, I mean, it was all over. Like, we couldn't do it.
I mean, right off the rip, I would have said, if I was, if I was running it, I would have immediately said, if you have an SLS, put it back in your trunk. Right. And there's mannequins everywhere. I pointed up at the ceiling, where there was the rafters, exposed rafters in the attic, that just, of course you're going to catch a figure on that.
So the SLS, I mean, I've written a full article on that and done 2 instructional videos on that, like pointing out the flaws. I know that there's plenty of flaws with that. It's not a tool for this. Even though I know people just love to use it, it's just not a useful tool for this at all. It's causes false positives all over the place.
Everywhere.
And just the pictures that I saw from the inside of this place, you can't, it's not something you use. And I mean, that's a whole nother topic. I don't really want to get into that too much. It's just, honestly, if for ghost hunting, it's useless. It's a novelty, it'll make you excited because you see stick figures, but you're not seeing ghosts.
I agree with you, but like I said, I don't use that much equipment. I don't. but there are people that do, and they investigate with stuff like, I mean, even when you guys went in the basement into the cage area where they said they get all this activity, well, they went in there and all of their stuff was like going crazy, but the wiring in there and the electrical boxes are in there and all this wiring is inside of there.
Yeah.
So of course you're going to be getting all that kind of stuff.
It'd be interesting. I mean, because Angela made the comment that most of the power is turned off to the building.
I guess she just means maybe the breakers are flipped, right?
Okay. So there's still power to the main breaker at least.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be power.
Because some of the rooms had heaters plugged in, so we were
right. So there is power running through.
Wasn't
yeah. So
yeah,
I want to go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and the cameras also. The cameras are going to need some sort of power supply because I don't think they're over Ethernet. If they're no audio, I don't think they're over Ethernet.
Well, so, I mean, the cameras still have to be plugged in.
Right.
So, and even if they're Ethernet cables, they still need a power cord. Ethernet doesn't supply power.
Right.
So they would all have to be powered. So you're going to have something going on. So absolutely. I want to switch over and get some input from my 3TS buddies here. So I know Dave's probably chomping at the bit. I saw him a few times, like wanting to say something. So Dave,
no
thought.
Okay, so first thing, did they ever talk to you or say why you needed 4 people in the control room?
No.
No.
That's the first time that I've ever been anywhere where that many people were on
it does seem like a lot. I don't know. Maybe they have a reason for it. I don't know. But I've been to other places that are well known. One in Indiana where there was one person and it was basically a room off to the side. He let you know he was there. They had cameras. I don't think they had audio, but it was just the one person. Just to keep an eye on stuff. Obviously, there's people in there he didn't know, so that was fine. With him, though, every time he came in and out, he told you. You knew what they were doing. For the most part, he stayed quiet. So I get that point that maybe you need somebody. You got people running around a place you don't own, and you're in charge of it. And whatever. That's fine. But 4 people, it seems like a lot.
And that's what I suggested to Larissa, because I did message Larissa before going to Kenny. Like I didn't go to Kenny. I talked to Kenny a lot about a lot of stuff. Anything that I have questions about, anything.
Universe, life.
So after
personal hygiene.
I sent the message to Larissa about all the stuff that I'm saying right now. And I said, oh gosh, I lost my damn train of thought.
Well, while you're recovering, I want to just make a comment real quick. A correction. Mark put in Ethernet can supply power over Ethernet. I looked it up. You're correct.
No, absolutely. I was only saying that I don't think it was Ethernet because normally power over Ethernet, PoE, contains audio. So it would have to, there's no audio, then it has to be, I believe it's only coax if it's just audio.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, take note of. Yeah.
Okay. So a couple other things. With all those props in there, the fact that it's promoted, the fact that they put videos out showing things that happened, you're already primed.
Right.
So you're going into a location with a whole bunch of, and I saw some of the pictures. There's a lot of creepy stuff. Now, if you say, oh, that stuff doesn't bother me, it doesn't scare me, it's not going to have an effect on me. It may or may not because of the priming and the conditioning that's happening. And then you get in there and there's going to be an expectancy situation. When you see all the scary stuff, even though it might not be haunted or ghost related, you're expecting scary. So you're going in with this priming, this expectancy, this level of suggestion based on all this stuff that's come together. So the props, they really should go if you want to do an investigation. However, let's be completely honest. Most other places like that out there, they may not have props, but they have things called embedded cues or contextual cues.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Hinsdale House within a year or so.
Yeah.
And I mean, they talk about the kids that used to live there and the hauntings that went on. And you know what? There's rooms with dolls in them. There's rooms with mirrors in them. There's rooms.
Right.
There's a picture on the wall. And I'm not picking on Hinsdale House just because that's the last place I've been to that's kind of a public thing. But there's a picture on the wall of the property that says haunted forest. These are all cues in the environment that are going to cause people to react in a certain way.
Mhm.
And
It's almost a form of
potentially have
mentalism, right?
experiences. So there's that part of it. And then with the cameras and the two-way communication, I mean, if you want to do EVP, whatever your opinion on it, you can't. It's just not going to happen. If you're going to try to do electromagnetic field surveys, probably not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Because you don't know and if they're saying some breakers are on and some aren't, you don't know which ones.
Right.
No.
So that's a problem. And then the other approach, which is kind of a more scientific approach, if you're going to try to correlate any experiences you have with EMF spikes, you're going to have a hard time doing that because of all the different background EMF there, that it's going to make it really hard to tease out anything that's meaningful. So while it doesn't sound like it's a perfect environment, and there's things that probably could, change a little bit to make it more conducive to a serious paranormal investigation, I mean, quite honestly, it's really not horribly different than some other commercial places that charge you to investigate. That's my point of view, and it's just my opinion, because I look at these other places, and while it might not be as blatant as scary Halloween props or disemboweled mannequins or whatever else was going on there, there's still contextual and embedded cues in these places that will set the mood and the tone and maybe let you have experiences. And then, of course, the two-way talk boxes, those should be automatically disconnected.
That hurt me the
Yeah.
worst because I love audio, I love EVPs and all that. So I was like very disappointed in not being able to use, that. But I will say, Dave, just with that, like I understand what you're saying. Like definitely Hinsdale House, I get it. We were there for a weekend, it was amazing. It's my favorite place. But like when you go to like places like I don't know, like Eastern State and Penhurst and all places that are bigger and things like that, like okay, you might they put the gurneys and stuff, but to expect that stuff in those places, right? So
Right.
also going into houses and mansions, you expect to see period time furniture or pictures and stuff like that. And then you're aware to see all that stuff. When you're going into a place that was a haunted attraction and you're being told it's not a haunted attraction over and over and over again.
That's a legit point. Yeah, I get it. That's a
And then
legit
you walk
point.
in and that's all over the place. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think my point was you have to be aware of those things because it can be as subtle as, I think it was Lemp Mansion or somewhere else. I can't remember exactly. It was years ago where it was a red room and people reported smelling
I remember hearing about that.
rose perfume in the red room. And there's another example where in a book on the subject, they talk about a purple room. And guess what people smelled there? Lilacs. So it doesn't have to be as blatant as what you're talking about. But I think the fact that it's even more blatant with these extreme props just magnifies that situation that I was talking about. And I mean, really, and if it's not Halloween and you're not doing an attraction, just get rid of it.
Well, and that's what I said to Larissa. I said, listen, I said, if you really want people to be able to come in and investigate and charge people money, because it wasn't cheap, it's not cheap, at least
Not cheap.
especially right now. If you want people to be able to do these investigations, I'm like, you need to take all the Halloween props out. You got to turn the lights off. You got to turn those talk boxes off. I'm like, I don't know why they were even on.
Yeah.
And like,
did you sleep? Were you allowed to sleep if you wanted there?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say that it raises a whole nother issue on the camera.
There's nowhere to there's nowhere to sit because
we were sitting on the floor.
There's nowhere because there's mannequins laying in beds with blood on them. Like there's really nowhere to, So, I just didn't. Like I said, I didn't see the movies, and I'll be honest with you, I've never seen any of their video evidence. The only thing I did watch ever was what Danger was on because he was telling me and here's my disclaimer. I had no idea he was coming there for that. I had no idea. So because I didn't see his video at that point. Like he invited me on some investigation, so I invited him out to this one, and he was like, "Yeah, we'll go," and so I had no idea at this point why he was going.
Okay.
On the other hand, though, if you go to a place like this and you want to have fun and you want to maybe have an experience, it's probably set up great for that.
Right.
Yeah.
But know what that is. It's not a serious
Yeah.
investigation or research project. It's to go and ghost hunt and have a good time and maybe have an experience, because all the things you describe obviously are going to lead to people thinking they had an experience.
Right.
Right.
So I want to, before we move on to Tim, because Tim, I want to get to you and your thoughts. I want to address this. I don't know if this comments to us or someone in the comments, but whether or not stuff happens, this is not throwing people under a bus. And I'm saying this if you're directing it to us. This is part of the discussion. Investigation, well, at least more scientific investigation, is not always about, weekend warriors that go and have a great time and sing praises to everything. If you don't have a good time, you talk about it and you try to improve upon it. That's what we're doing here. We're pointing out some flaws that they had, and we're addressing them. And maybe we can offer some insight how to improve it later. And we are. I mean, we're talking about like taking the intercoms out, taking the mannequins out. This is all stuff that needs to be done. Stop throwing people on their bus and providing valuable feedback. Yeah. Not every review. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not all praise. This is not, that's one of the problems with the paranormal community itself. It's that sense of that pseudo para unity where we can only say good stuff about each other. Bullshit.
Cool Kids Club.
Bullshit. I mean, if you have a problem, you should bring that up. Yeah.
Especially if you're paying to go there.
Yeah. I mean, if it's pay to
You're
play.
paying for a specific, I'm sorry, I'm not on
The voice of Donna.
Yeah.
If you're
Got
paying
EVP?
for experience and you think you're going to be able to go there for an investigation, then you should be able to do that.
Right. Hey.
Jossie. But yeah, I agree. You need, and it's not throwing people under the bus. It's not being mean or derogatory. It is bringing up issues. And
Okay, just so you know, he is connected with somebody that works there. So he's like, take it to them. I did take it to them.
They were invited to come on too.
I
right?
went to her first before I.
So I want to clear that up. That I did invite them to come on, but it was short notice. It was very short notice on my part. So I mean, I take credit for that or fault.
And I think you just offered another opportunity to come on at a later time to talk about it as well. So
yeah, they were.
I mean, we're not trying to talk. I mean, and for me again, mine is just listening to what Taryn says and what you all say who were there, and just giving an opinion.
And it's getting it out there. I mean, you can take it to the person. I mean, I usually do too, but it's also healthy to talk about it so that other people can weigh in or understand your problems. Like, why wouldn't you go back? Well, this is why. And again, we're not being mean. We're not running a bus over somebody. It's saying, hey, these are problems that need to be dealt with. If you take offense to that, that's on you.
I think you need to figure. They need to figure out who they're going to target. Are you targeting the serious researcher or paranormal investigator? If you're not, this will not work. Yeah. If you're targeting the hobbyists who want to get together and have fun and maybe have an experience, I'll go for it because you're what you're doing is going to work.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it's
him.
Thanks a lot, Dave. The final point. You covered. I have all these. It's like
Tim, you got to just fucking butt in and not let me go.
I am too polite.
You do a show with me, right?
Like,
I do.
I'm not sitting here and saying it's haunted or not haunted. I'm not arguing anybody. Whatever. All I know is I paid to do an investigation and I could not do that because of the environment of the place and the people running that. They are supposedly a team of investigators. So you would think that would be set up differently. I was under the impression that it was. I was, constantly corrected on Facebook about it's not a haunted attraction, and these people are, investigators and they investigate there. So I'm thinking, okay, so the place must be, and, the owner said, oh, it's an abandoned hotel. You're walking into an abandoned hotel, basically. So I'm thinking, well, these places that I've investigated that are truly abandoned, you know, and like there's nothing in there, and being told it's not a haunted attraction, you know, and you know, walking into that was very disheartening. It was just disheartening.
Tim, you're
I'll
up.
mute so Tim can talk.
Jossie, I'll get to you in a minute. Tim's been waiting, but I just wanted to get you on.
Ditto Dave. That's about. So basically, my whole thing was I was thinking about my main listening. I'm kind of with Dave, so I'm kind of learning as I'm listening to what people are saying. Was the main thing I came up with? My main point was going to be Dave's last point was who are you going to really target to? Because it sounds like it's really packed full of stuff, contextual cues for fun. And that's great. If that's what you want to have that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it just it sounds to me like a haunted house attraction, and people can come have a few beers somewhere else, go there, have a great time, then leave and go somewhere else and have an enjoyable experience. I haven't done like a ghost hunt in a long time because I've kind of moved away from that. But listening to Taryn and Mr. Danger, I remember, when we would go, we would hope that the environment was as clean as possible, and not clean like there's no dirt, but just just can we have as few distractions so that it's already hard, it's already difficult to control what is there when the environment's clean. It's much more harder to control when it's contaminated with so much stuff, especially you were saying all the noises. I mean, there's no point for even a recorder really. But it just kind of came to me listening to everybody. It just sounds like it's just got to pick your audience. What do you want to do? And that's kind of just the end of that, other than exactly what Dave said. The contextual cues, everything's there. You're primed, you're ready. I'm listening to people talk. You were talking about the wiring. Sounds like it's just kind of all over. So,
in the basement, that's where we started. Me and Eric, we started in the basement, and we were told when we were given the tour, and I thought we made it very clear that we didn't want
ghost stories.
Yeah, we didn't want any ghost stories. We didn't want you to tell us where to go. We just so we didn't get lost, right? Because she said there's a maze in there. Just walk us through once, and we'll be fine. It turned into a ghost story. When we were in the basement, make sure you guys go in this cage and this and that, and you're gonna get touched, you're gonna feel this, this is gonna happen. We go upstairs and this room, they don't like men in this room, you're gonna get pushed out of here. Women, you're gonna get your legs tickled, such and such. So I mean, so we started in the basement, and we went in the cage first with a REM pod and a K2 EMF detector. And immediately, as soon as you put the REM pod down, I mean, that thing lit up like a Christmas tree right away. And, like when that happens, I mean, and then we look over to our left and there's a fucking breaker box right there, just right in front of you. And there's wires everywhere. So we took it out of there and we put it on a chair out in the regular basement area. And that thing was quiet for about a half hour. Nothing. Right. And it was just because of the breaker box and all the wires, the exposed wiring and everything that was over there. And we even put the K2 up to it. It spiked. So, I mean, like we didn't have, other than that, I mean, we even tried a couple of EVP sessions down there, nothing. My main thing was going to see this door, right? And in the podcast, they told me that the bathroom was sealed off. So if you watch the video, and I'll share it with you, Kenny.
Okay. Thank you.
So you can see it. I'll share the whole podcast with you. They said that when you walk in the bathroom, that's it. It's just a bathroom. There's no other door. There's no windows. It's completely closed off. You can't get through there. When in reality, it's a throughway. You have to walk through the bathroom through another set of doors on the other side of the bathroom to get to the main hallway that connects to the staircases. And there is another way to get to the staircases if you walk around the outside, right?
Okay.
Or inside, but around the bathrooms and around all this other stuff. You can get there, but you can also get there through the bathroom. So I was told that when the door opened and shut, that
There's no
way
Right.
that door can open and shut by itself.
Okay.
And I mean, honestly, it could have been someone that just like kicked the door open and forgot something and turned around, because you could also hear footsteps in the thing. I'm by no means an expert. I'm a professional skeptic, which was going to be what my headline was going to be. I am super skeptical, which is why they invited me on the podcast to begin with, to show me this. And I guess maybe to turn me. But so I went there, and when she was giving us a tour, I pointed that door out and I was like, that's the door. Right. And then when she walked us through it, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. That's really all I came to see.
Okay.
And, but I again, I want to stress that as far as the experience goes, it was a really cool experience to see the set of the movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie, but it was really cool. My daughter's seen the movie and she's like, oh my God, you're going there. And, so it was really awesome to see the set and to walk around, and they still have everything set up, but it's set up like a haunted house, right? There's very narrow pathways. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide, right? You're being chased by a guy with a chainsaw. It's very much set up like that. So, it's a single file you all the way through it.
Okay.
But if they got rid of all that and someone could conduct like an actual investigation,
who knows?
Who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe there's a bunch of people, ghosts in there. Maybe, but you're never going to know. There's too much contamination.
I'm the same way with like movie sets and stuff. Like I love filming locations, so I will always go. I mean, we drove two hours to go see the little town Iron Man 3 was filmed in, which is a dead town. There's like nothing. There's nothing there.
That would be so cool.
But it was still fun. So I get it, and I enjoy stuff like that. So, Jossie, hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Jossie.
Skeptical Inquirer. Oh, F you.
Oh, look at that.
That's how me and her. That's how me and her greet each other. We really
A whole lot of this.
See? That's our
So
input. What do you have to add?
The only reason I really wanted to come on was to kind of get my point across with what Mike says. I went because this was my daughter and I. This was like 2020 when we saw Hell House, and we loved it. We just stayed home and watched scary movies for 3 months. So when we had this opportunity, I was very excited. And the fact that we were going to be one of the first teams, considering the group of us, the Peaches, we're all pretty seasoned investigators. But from what I'm understanding, this place was haunted based on mediums, right? I followed some of their stuff, and they had all of this evidence, but their evidence has never really made it to me. I haven't really seen or heard anything other than the SLS, which was ridiculous. And then the video that Mike shows, he'll send with you, or he'll share with you, which immediately I didn't believe, because you can't even see everything on the video. It just, I could have been pushing the door from, low level. Yeah, it's very stupid. And the video that's in the in the bathroom that would show the other side of the door was lost. I find that really fishy. It wasn't saved or whatever. So, and I also went there thinking that, and I actually love the house, but I went there on the understanding that the owner of the house, in however many years has she owned the house, Taryn, do you remember? Like,
this one was 12.
And she's never had an experience until
I don't think she owns it though.
She rents it. She says she owns it. Like she rents it from a company, but owns
and I found it interesting that when she was having this, she was on the brew, she said that she'd never had an experience there. And now this group who were actually very nice people. So nobody's being thrown under any bus. I saw that comment before. But all of a sudden this place is haunted after X amount of years of not being haunted. So I want to get in. A, I love the movie. B, you said haunted, I'm in. I felt like they were investigating the way I did before I met Kenny Biddle. You know what I mean? Like everything is haunted. Everything is a ghost. They're very green. They're excited. And I am excited for them. But there's got to be a little bit of a reality check here in that this is not well run yet. you got to do better. You got to clean up the props if you're going to sell for a good amount of money. You know, it's not cheap to rent these places out. You got to clean it up and do a little bit better. There was EMF was off the charts. And I know Megan had gone with me into the basement with Sabrina and Tony, and Dave was there. And Megan we were told not to go into the cage if we were women or something. So of course Megan goes right in, and like Mike, you know, right. And like Mike said, there was just wires. There was a huge battery with like just acid kind of pouring over. It's a fear cage. You know, you're going to get that feeling if you're inexperienced because, you know, it's just, you don't know better. But as for someone like, for a group of people like us who went in, all of the red flags were going off. It was just, and so I want them to do better because, yeah, I would love for everybody to be successful, but it was just not, I left at 10 o'clock. I was like, all right, peace out, everybody. It's cold and I'm done.
Yeah. And we had the place till 2 a.m.
Yeah. I was like, I want to go home. I don't need this.
And then we left shortly after. Me, Megan, Sabrina, and Tony, we left shortly after. Like I can never, ever understand. And I appreciate everybody who's got a mediumship, but I cannot understand how a place can be claimed haunted on a feeling. You know, you got to show me more. And again, I'm not saying there's, you know, Kenny, I know I'm still a believer, even though, you know,
we're working on that.
We're working on that. Right. But I mean, it can't just be a feeling, you know, there's, right. You can't prove it. You can't disprove it, but there's gotta be more than there's been a couple of celebrities or famous psychic mediums, or I feel this, I just haven't seen anything there. And so I was just disappointed, but I feel like there's room to grow and I'd like to see this place grow.
Yeah, I would love to do a real investigation there.
Yeah, you make a good point about how like it seems like it's suddenly haunted. So I watched Taryn's show, and I made a note that that the owner or the renter only had one experience, and that was the door that was slammed. But she was also asked about the crew, the film crew that was there, if any of them had any experiences, and she said no. So, I mean, now, I mean, I don't know how professional of a skeptic you are, Mike, so I'm not trying to step on your toes, but I'm a full-time skeptic. I get paid for what I do. But I would think that a place that is that has a haunting going on, has stuff going on, that if you're filming a horror movie at that place, like that's the time to do it, dude. You got cameras going, you got people screaming, you got so much emotion and stuff, all the tropes that are associated with, you know, paranormal activity and what happens with a haunting, it's all there. So I would expect something to go on. But
I think what I may have read somewhere on Facebook, and
well, then it's true. I mean,
disclaimer. I fucking hate Facebook, right? But that it's what made it haunted was God, what did they say was like the fear that everybody had during the haunted house or something. That's what drew the energy or something. And there are also things that are on Facebook of, or some of these podcasts of, certain spirits or entities that they've communicated with that will only talk to one person.
Right.
And, I call bullshit on a lot of that stuff. If it can't be corroborated, I just don't pay any attention to it.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like we were being told all these stories about all these people that died on the property and now they're stuck there. But in the next sentence, they can't find any history prior to 1969.
Yeah. That's something I want to bring up because I mean, I saw that there's no history with it. It looks, because I looked it up real quick. I looked it up by the address and going through the owners, and it looks like it's just there's nothing there. So nothing happened, nothing really associated with it. So
I filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the county and the city there. So I'm hoping to hear back from them sometime within the next 5 years. to
I've been there, brother.
yeah.
2 years I waited for
You're
information.
optimistic, man.
We got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know,
So,
keep the faith.
but yeah, I mean, there's nothing there. There's nothing to be found. So I don't want to say, like I usually say, it's a boring property, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It usually, I use that for any property that just has no history. That means it was just there. There was nothing significant that happened on that site, so there's nothing to report. And that's what it looks like with this place, except for because it's a filming location, because now it's also a haunted attraction. But to come up and just suddenly say that it's haunted and have, like, I don't know what they have. So I want to make that clear. I don't know what they're promoting as evidence. I would certainly love to see it. I would be more than willing to take a look at it and discuss it. I'm getting the feeling now that they're not going to, but I mean, it's open. It's open for it. So if they want to have a friendly discussion, I'm totally open for it. I'm more than willing to come out there and check the place out, or see what kind of claims they have for it. But it really looks like it was a pop-up, like almost like, what is that? That pop-up televangelist. When like a televangelist pops a tent up in a city, you know, and they just start preaching and healing people that are already healed. You know, like that's what I see here. It was like an opportunity, and let's say it's haunted. So I don't know. And I understand that the person that runs it claims to be like a psychic medium or something.
The one that runs is running the paranormal side of things.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, personally, I don't have any kind of belief in psychics and or mediums. So I would be interested in studying that more, you know, especially with Dave, because it would be interesting because Dave's the stats guy. So it would be interesting to go and look at that more. But I mean, I don't trust just those stories, because I could do the same thing. I could walk into any house and say, well, you know, so-and-so died here and murdered, but it was covered up. So you're not going to find it in the newspaper, but there's definitely a death that happened here. Therefore it's haunted. So come on out. And I have no doubt, and this is me speculating. I want to make that clear. That's my disclaimer. I'm speculating that if I invited a para-celebrity, not me, shut up, Taryn, a para-celebrity to come out and visit my location, I guarantee they're going to find stuff.
He's just a skeptic now.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a t-shirt of that, Dave.
I want royalties, man.
There you go.
You said that earlier, and I was like, that's a cool t-shirt. That's skeptic.
I'm going to make you one, Kenny.
All right.
I mean, could it be haunted?
Just tell me what size.
Could it be haunted? We don't know.
Fat guy. That's what size.
And here's the thing. I just want to say that this, you know, me coming on here is not trying to, you know, we were told we were the first team to investigate this place, right? And I mean, I'm looking at this like, okay, I went to Larissa with this stuff first. I said, you know, these, you know, and I was kind of brushed off, you know, and that's why I then went to Kenny and I said, I want to tell you, I went somewhere and I gave a review. I wanted his opinion. You know, I was like, you know, did I do good? Did I, you know, whatever, you know, and me and him started talking about it. And he, you know, like I said, I go to Kenny with all kinds of stuff.
My Padawan, my young Padawan learner.
And he's like, you know, would you be willing to come on? I said, absolutely. And like, and that's the thing, like how Jossie said it. Jossie said it really good. Like, I want the place to be successful, but if anybody goes in there like that, paying, I mean, originally we were going to be charged $850, and then they went down to $650 because we were the first team to go in there. They gave us a discount, but still $650 right now is a lot of money to people, you know? And I mean, to me, it's always a lot of money, but I'm just saying, like, when teams are going to start going there and they're paying this money, whatever they're charging people, you know, and then go there and not be able to do an investigation, you know, people are going to get pissed off,
right,
and angry, you know, because
like you.
I'm not. I'm just.
You're angry. You are angry. You have anger.
I'm disappointed. I've never been in this situation before, so I did not expect that. I was also corrected so many times about it being a haunted attraction and how it's like, you know. Right. So I am a little mad because I feel like I was lied to about a lot of stuff. So to me, I feel like, and then I was also told nobody else was going to be there with us.
Mm-hmm.
I have that screenshotted. I was told nobody else was going to be there with us. And now there's 4 people there in this control room. So I was told a lot of things that were not true. And I don't want my peers and fellow investigators, I've been doing this a long time. I know people that have been doing this a long time. And if you're opening up a place like that, that's going to have a big draw, and you're also promoting it with paracelebs that people like, it's going to have a big draw to investigators. People are going to want to investigate it based on all of that stuff and claims and this and that. And when they go there paying all that money and then not being able to do anything or use their equipment or even rely on anything, it's very frustrating.
Right. All right. Before we move on, we are past our pee break time, so we're going to take our break. I know. We're like, I got to go. I don't know about you. I got to go. So let me make sure I start this off. So we're going to take a 3.5-minute break for our pee break. So everyone, please stay on the line. Hopefully everyone's good staying on for a little bit, and we will get to some questions and anything else that comes up, because I know we have a bunch of questions in the queue. So let me set this up, and you will have 3 minutes and 27 seconds from. Look at Tim.
I gotta pee, man.
I got one foot out the door.
All right,
I got a pot of coffee and I'm ready to come out.
With our screaming.
Go.
Man, look at that fucking production quality.
Shut up.
Unbelievable.
I know.
That's pretty damn good, man.
That was just a hack job because the other commercials were out of date. So I was like,
thanks for fixing our show. I was like, God, every time the commercial came on, somebody give a shit about it.
right. All right, we are back. We're having a lively discussion about a location that was investigated by Taryn and her group, Jossie and Mike, and other people, and some issues that they brought up. We are not bashing. We're not dissing anybody. We are offering, we're pointing out flaws and offering suggestions, and hopefully making an impact on anyone else that might want to go there. We're not saying don't go there. We're saying,
Right.
hey, think about it first and maybe ask some questions or maybe make some requests if possible before you go. So with that, if anyone has any pressing matters they want to bring up, we can get to questions. Anybody got anything they want to bring up real quick?
I don't think so.
Nobody? No? Good? No? Good? Going? Bueller? Nobody? Only one person got that reference? What the fuck,
I
man?
got it.
I did
I
get
got
it.
All right, let's get some questions.
Wait, well, I do have one. Megan commented on my cup. Megan, so since Birdsboro, I know you weren't there. This says Merry Christmas. And I put
Christmas.
coffee in it, thought it was going to be a cheap little mug. And I go up to buy it, and she says $31.99. I said,
Mhm.
"Wait, what? Wait, what? I already had coffee in it. It
I
says
think
Merry
that's one
Christmas.
thing.
This was last week. It says Merry Christmas.
Okay.
The
So
theme
what-
of Taryn tonight is she likes to overpay for shit, I think.
Yeah, always. Always.
Mhm.
Always.
Hey, Lauren. Antonio, there's a lot of people in them. Rich, Chris,
Just kidding.
Todd. All right. So questions. Let's get some questions and see if we can address them, answer them, talk about them, whatever. Daniel Reed, what's up, Daniel?
Oh yeah.
Why were they so adamant about saying it wasn't a haunted attraction?
I don't know.
That
I
was
have
so
no idea.
weird.
It was weird because that's what it is.
So
Yeah.
you both, Jossie and Mike, you heard this too?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And it's on
Facebook.
Facebook. Like them answering me, it's on Facebook. Like their
Yeah.
answers to me telling
Okay.
me it's not a haunted attraction. So
All right.
I was not expecting all of that.
So I'm wondering if, from their perspective, they're saying, "Hey, the ghost hunt is separate from the haunted attraction, so therefore it's not a haunted attraction." But the location is a haunted attraction.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Well,
the
somebody,
baseline.
somebody asked me, what kind of place is this? And
Okay.
I said, it's a haunted attraction that a movie was filmed at, but they just started opening it up to paranormal investigators, like for private ghost hunts.
Okay.
And we're going. And then the owner said, it's not a haunted attraction. You know, after the haunt season, you know, I know, she's like, after the haunt season, we pack up, or she says something, it's on Facebook. I don't want to mistype it, but it was like, it led me to believe the way it was written was that and she said, you're basically walking into an abandoned hotel. Like the way she worded it made me
Right.
feel like
Okay.
everything was cleaned up.
I mean, our conversation earlier, I mean, we were talking about this and ideas for the show and how to go about stuff, and that kept coming up. And I mean, for me, I kept sending a picture pointing at the website, pointing at the part where it says attractions, because it does say attractions, and that's what it is. And this is part of the issue is that I don't know when their haunt season is. I imagine it's around Halloween.
Right.
Mhm.
So I guess there's a balance here, because if it's set up like a haunted attraction, I'm sure it's very difficult and involved to set that all up. And
I'm
once
sure.
it's in place, they want to keep it that way.
So
and
I think there should be a
Then don't do a paranormal investigation.
right, but
I
so
mean-
there's nothing haunted about a guy that's chasing you around with a chainsaw. So technically, that's not a haunted attraction either. You know what I mean? But
that-
so-
Right. Okay.
well, yeah,
so-
that's a
so-
murder spree.
right.
That's
So it's a haunted attraction, right? So they want to bring in paranormal investigators to investigate the haunt of this location. But it's very hard because, I mean, listen, it could be the most haunted place in the world. But what we're saying is that whatever evidence we were able to gather,
If that's
all
what
has to be thrown out.
everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Everything.
Right?
I'll give you a mistake that I made, which is kind of what you're talking about.
Drinking too much?
Yes, already. I started this morning.
Knew it. We knew it. I said that.
So I had kind of come into the conversation where it was not a haunted attraction. It's not a haunted attraction. So I went to the website to kind of learn about it. And the first thing I wanted to find was the history to see if there were any allegations of anything that could have happened there, that there was a reason for it to be haunted. So immediately I read the story about the 25 murdered people. And I was like losing my mind because I work like law enforcement, and I'm like, how the hell did 25 people disappear at a hotel? And someone's like knocking on the door going,
Yeah.
how come all 25 people's cars are in your parking lot? I'm like,
I mean, even the Bates Motel,
That's
they
actually a
eventually
great
figured out
point.
where people were going missing.
so yeah, so if it's not like immediately, you know, I didn't take it as a haunted attraction because that's what I was hearing. So I was like, well, this is a legitimate place with a legitimate claim. So I started Googling serial killers from Pennsylvania. And I think the most prolific was 18. And I'm like, well, how can it be 18 if this guy's got 25 confirmed?
Right.
Where's this guy's name? Like, how is this guy not showing up on arrests and convictions and the deaths and the newspapers? And then finally somebody was like, no, dumbass. It's part of the story.
Right.
I was like, great.
So it's interesting that you bring that up because the guy I came with, Eric, great investigator, he actually brought this up because he assumed it was true, right?
I started out.
Right. But if you do a little bit more Google foo, right? There's an
I like that.
you're right. There's a right, exactly. Some Google foo. There is a interview that was done. I believe it was with the Angela or the owner, one of the people that were in charge of the place, and they asked straight up, the story that's on the website, did you write that? And she said, yes, I wrote that whole story. So it's completely
For the haunt.
right. It's for the haunted house.
Oh.
Haunted attraction.
Right. So I think there definitely needs to be a separation, like on their website. There needs, for paranormal investigations, there should definitely be a disclaimer there, like that story's not true, right? But we did have some psychic mediums come in here, and this is what they said, you know. And honestly, the job of a paranormal investigator is not to confirm; it's actually to debunk, right? And if you can't debunk,
we can debate that.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me anyway, so my job, right, as an investigator is I want to go in and I think everybody's completely full of shit, 100% before I go into anywhere. And I want to be pleasantly surprised. I want to see a full-bodied apparition dancing the jig on the washing machine. I want to see that.
It'd be interesting.
But I have yet to see that, you know? So I don't believe anything anybody says about lore, legend, myth. This is what I think. And I think the biggest red flag for me is when the word, this is the saying, this is what I feel, right?
Yeah.
I don't give two fucks about what you feel, right? Can you prove it? That's the thing. Can we prove what you feel with corroborating evidence, right? And that's really where we need to, where the baseline should be. You have to have something that corroborates your feelings, you know?
But you can, so people can come in and say they feel things. That's you know, that's all right. But are they feeling things? Let's say, for example, if you're going to look at it scientifically or statistically, are they feeling things where others have felt things? Are they feeling things where others have reported things? Does it match up? Does it match up with the history? Does it match up with what happened at the location? I mean, there's ways to look at it to see if I get it. Feelings aren't going to drive, and it's not hard evidence, but if it matches up with something and you have people come in that are truly blinded and they can get, you know, report similar things and tag certain areas and it matches up, with something that you can find historical, then it becomes at least interesting, right?
Well, I also want to piggyback off of that because it's interesting. We're talking about how it's presented because somebody earlier had mentioned it's also an escape room with a question mark. Now, on my live interview with her, we brought this up. And I said, so, oh my God, that sounds so cool. You guys do escape rooms? And she goes, well, it's technically not an escape room. You don't have to escape, but I have to let you out. Ha ha ha. You know, like,
right.
but they're advertising it as an escape room.
So it is an escape room.
And it just got creepier.
That follows the movie, though. That follows the movie because don't in the movie series, I believe like the kids get in and they can't get out, or
But no, she's saying you can. You just walk through it.
Right.
But they make it a little bit more fun. I guess I don't know what they do differently than the haunted attraction. There wasn't really distinguished what was said.
Yeah.
But when I said, "Oh my gosh, that sounds so cool," so you really get to try to escape, and she goes, "No, it's not really like that.
Okay.
You walk through, but and then she made the joke about not, she's like, I have to let you out."
So I want to touch on just give my perspective to Mr. Danger or Mr. Close. So from my perspective, when you investigate something, I don't go in to debunk, nor do I go in to prove something exists. I'm going in to figure out what happened, because if you go in specifically to debunk something, you're going in with a bias. You're going in with an agenda.
And I feel you.
Which is the opposite side of the coin.
Absolutely.
Go in there specifically to prove. So, and like Brian Dunning mentioned, like, I don't think everyone's full of shit. Granted, I do think there are quite a few people that are full of shit. But Zach Paggins. I think
you're the first one.
I'll tell you later. I think there's a lot of people, the majority of people are mistaken. I think they've been what's the word I'm looking for? They've had their beliefs reinforced over the years by friends and family. So they believe they have maybe some kind of superpowers. And again, I'm not being derogatory. Superpowers is just easier than saying psychic, medium, empath, all that shit. So if they think they have superpowers, it's coming from reinforcement from friends and family, and maybe sometimes self-delusion. If they see a ghost, we don't know if they saw a ghost. We really have to look into each case because maybe they saw an optical illusion. Mm-hmm. Maybe they had an issue with their vision. Maybe there was a shadow there that was caused by something else that they didn't investigate because they were on a stakeout rather than an investigation. So I just wanted to, because I did point out, like, I challenge.
I agree. And listen, I agree with you. However, for me specifically in this case, I was given a piece of evidence that, that I definitely wanted to see if it was true or not. How heavy is that door? Does it open and close easily? Right. And to find out it was a walkthrough, definitely.
Yeah, you heard footsteps.
I mean, to Kenny's point,
yes, I'm sorry, Dave. So they showed me this clip, and I'll share it with all of you. They showed me this clip, and I looked at it literally for 15 seconds. I saw it one time for 15 seconds, and I heard footsteps. Right after the door opened and shut, I heard footsteps. 4 other people that were on this podcast, or 3 other people. Larissa, Sky, and 2 people. Yeah, so 4 people on the podcast. They had no idea that footsteps were even in the video, right? They had to watch it like 4 times in order to hear the footsteps. And I'll share it with you in the private chat, I guess, because I can't write a comment.
Yeah, we can talk later.
Yeah. But if you listen to it, turn the volume up, you can hear the footsteps after the door opens and shuts. So, that the fact that they didn't catch that during their analysis of it, and this guy that just sat here and listened to it for 15 seconds had to tell you that it was there, and you've had this for years, right, or a long time,
but they didn't save the video inside the bathroom,
right? Which I was like,
this video came from like years ago.
I did ask for context, like, do you have the video after or before? They only had this short little snip of video to try to turn me into a believer. And And so by me going there, my goal was to check this door out, because if it was legit, then man, that's great. That's a great piece of evidence if it's legit. But, you know, is what it is.
All right, cool. I want to put this up real quick. Daniel Reed put up from the website. This is a medium level escape game recommended for 12 years or older. So
I might go just to do the escape game to.
That would be fun. I mean, I think it would
a cool
be cool.
house. It's a cool house for that.
I mean, I'm not sure they're going to let me now.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be interesting. All right.
Which is really no different than what you were talking about, to open it up as like a fun thing, you know, and not to serious paranormal investigators.
Totally.
But if you do want to do that, then I mean, you don't have to do
Advertise it
everything.
as such.
Like, or yeah, just make the changes. I'm not being mean. I just, you know.
All right, let's move on. We got more questions.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, Bob. Hey, Bob. Just so that I fully caught up, I have been listening, but I feel like I'm missing something. Was there an agreement beforehand that you and your team were going to do a serious investigation with Angela? Was there an agreement ahead of time that they removed everything from the attraction?
So, okay. So I'll say this. The agreement was with Larissa Rex, who runs the paranormal side of things.
Okay.
So it wasn't with Angela. And yes, she told me that we were going to be, they were going to open up the Hell House for private investigations for paranormal groups. And that we would be the first team to investigate it if somebody did not book it the weekend before, which they hadn't. So we were technically the first team. And then on Facebook and in person in front of everybody, I was corrected so many times that it's not a haunted attraction. So in my understanding, yes, all of the Halloween props would have not been there, nothing like that.
Okay. So there wasn't an exclusive clause that stated it'd be empty, the attraction would be gone. But
and it was never with Angela.
I think it was a reasonable assumption that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being corrected over and over again, and then being told I'm walking into an abandoned hotel, and you know, like. And
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we could have left there, and they could have ran a group through the haunted house.
Totally.
Literally.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
It sounds like they're.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
go ahead,
It sounds like they're kind of trying to get a little bit of money from everybody. Like, oh, let's make it an escape room. Let's make it a haunted attraction. Let's make it a place to eat.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, looking at it, I saw the website. I went through it a little bit, and I seem to remember. And obviously, there's people, Daniel, that are looking at the website. Yeah. So it looks like they have it scheduled so that the haunted attraction runs, and then right afterwards, they allow for a ghost hunt to come in.
I don't know when they end. I know that I think they end literally because she gave me free tickets to go to the haunted attraction, which I didn't go. So again, at this point, I haven't been there. But it was one of the last days you could go, and that was like Halloween weekend.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it was like after that was when they would close, close everything. Because they weren't opening up the paranormal side of things until January 14th.
So I guess my point is that it bothers me that they would go from haunted attraction right into a ghost hunt with all of that stuff still in there and likely on. If anything's powered, it would be powered. I mean,
3 months though.
But yeah, I mean that's a lot. That would be. I mean, honest, just if I showed up out of the blue, just said, oh yeah, you guys like offered, hey, Kenny, we have a spot, come on with us, and I showed up and saw that, I would probably most likely say, I appreciate the offer, I appreciate you guys thinking of me, but I'm going home. There's no reason for me to stay because there's too much here. There's nothing's going to get done.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. I'm the evil evil skeptic.
Well, we
stuff.
also paid $650.
That's a lot of money.
And,
A lot of
you know, Megan drove over 2 hours to get there.
So did Dave. Dave,
And Dave,
right?
yeah, Dave Haney, yeah. He
Yeah.
drove over 2 hours.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we drove an hour and a
live
half.
Far away.
Yeah.
I was an hour and a half. Nobody was really that close. So, and then, you know, it was 7 p.m. that we got there, you know, and really I mean, she walked us through that place and she just talked. None of us talked. So it was like boom, 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 like through this whole, you know, so that took up like a good half hour, 45 minutes, you know, as we were walking through, and she's telling all her personal stories and things that have happened to her. It wasn't just this quick walkthrough, first of all. So we really didn't start. And I mean, yes, we walked through, but she was just so quick, fast, and talking, you know, and this and that, you know, we're listening to her, but
I get that bothers me too, because that goes into what we've discussed earlier about priming. I think Dave, you brought that up. Like that's all priming. I mean, that's telling you what's going to happen or what to expect to happen in certain places. And
you know what? I'll say my bad for not interrupting her and saying we don't want to know those. Remember, you know, because we did tell her that.
Yeah.
We did tell her that.
But you know, at this point, you know, we're not assholes. I'm not trying to like, you know, get anybody angry or whatever.
Sure
no, I was just, you know, so whatever, you know, like really, nobody else seemed really bothered by it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't gonna, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Well, I thought they were really nice. I didn't think.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they were really lovely people, and I can't say that I didn't. She asked me if I wanted to hear the claims, and I said yes, but I don't know. So Mike and Eric came in, and they had tunnel vision. They went in, and I was like, wow, these guys they knew what they were doing. So I think we were just a little more blasé, and she did walk me through, and I didn't stop her, but she said, do you want to know some of the claims? And I mean, some of them were kind of silly, you know, like, is anybody a mother? And I'm like, oh yeah. And she's like, if you're a mom, you're going to feel something. I'm like, what? Like, you know, I didn't know what any of that meant. It was kind of weird.
There's a big difference between a ghost hunt and what I would consider an investigation.
Yeah.
Ghost hunt, you're going in, you know the history, you know what's supposed to happen, and all the locations, the corners, the creepy hallways, and all that stuff, and you're excited. You want to go in there and, you know, go to those spots and get stuff to happen. If I go into a spot, I want to know the claims. I want to list the claims and decide which ones are actually testable so that I can test them.
They were very psychic oriented, very medium oriented.
All of it.
There may or may not be testable claims within that. I don't know.
I don't think so.
But I would go through the list, and if there's, I mean, I've done that now where I'm approached to come out to a place, and they're like, "Wow, we have a lot of activity. It's really, really active, and all this and demonic stuff, and great. You know what's going on?" And they will tell me a bunch of random stuff, but there's nothing testable. So it's like, I'm sorry, you know, I appreciate that you're excited about that, but there's really nothing I can do. I'm not going to come out there and just sit for 4 or 5 hours and wait for something to happen. That's right. It's not what I do. So at least from my angle, that would not be worth it. Yeah. All right, let's keep moving. We got, this is a great show. I'm having fun. I love you guys. This is great. Mark Kirk, question: are there people who take care of the place? Are the people who take care of the place the owners? They might not be able to do certain things.
Then you don't open it up to be able to not to charge people money to do something they can't do.
Right. So I think the Country Junction owns the property, and
that's what came up in the property records. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Angela rents the place for, you know, this whatever it is.
The owner. She told me on my show, she said the same thing. She said the Country Junction owns it. I rent it, but it's my house. So she says she's the owner.
And so, like, I guess the biggest thing is that, and really it's a huge responsibility to be, in stewardship of a location, right? You don't own the place. You're kind of just the steward of making sure how everything runs. And honestly, you know, I think they were very nice. Everyone there was very nice. But maybe, and it's not that they can't learn how to do it right. Maybe they just need help on how to run it properly. Exactly. Right. And there is a way to run this properly, and there is a way to market this properly. And there's a way to investigate this the right way. And the first thing they need to do is just to get everything out of there. Right. Because it's still set up with the little short pathways and everything, the small, narrow, it's a maze that you have to go through, and you have to hit every single one of these points.
They do tell you there's no running water, but there's a porta potty you have to use. So there's no running water, no heat, and like electric in only a couple of the rooms, which they do let you know. There was an email sent to me, and that was told to me.
Yep.
So we knew that.
Okay.
Right. So, and I hope they watch this, and I hope that they just take notes, as because we actually, our team, Sector 12 Paranormal, we run a couple of locations, and we bring people in for investigations and stuff, but it has to be run a certain way, and it has to be done in a way that, I mean, normally we just let you go, let you do your thing. You don't even hear us. We're like little ninjas, but in this space, I mean, like, you could literally hear some
insulation, I believe, right?
Yeah, there's no insulation inside.
So it's you can hear.
Right. And so, like, especially if you're charging people $600 to $800 to come in there, and they're limiting the amount of people you can bring. I think for us, they said it was between 8 and 10 people.
Yeah.
In our group, we have like, I think 12.
Oh, and they also offer, if you want to rent their equipment, you can rent their equipment.
Yeah. So, like, and then there's no really equipment that you can use that would be of any value.
The way it is now. If they clean it up, maybe. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we're supposed to go, like, our team, Sector 12, was supposed to go March 4th, and we haven't canceled. I would love to go. And if they clean this up, if they clean everything out of there, I would love to give it a fair shake and a fair shot. Absolutely. I just, I was very much like Kenny. We were there for an hour and a half, and we were like, boom, it's time to go. Like, yeah, we were out, man. And Larissa came out to the parking lot and was asking us, like, oh my God, what's going on? And why are you leaving? And, I don't think the parking lot in the freezing cold was the proper place to have the discussion. I was hoping that she would be able to come on here and listen, we're saying all this stuff and nobody's really here to defend it.
Right.
And I definitely want them to have that opportunity. And we're more than willing to still, even if it's just me by myself, I'm more than willing to still go if they're willing to make these changes, if they're willing to, concede some certain things. And you have to be able to accept some of these criticisms, and they're not negative. It's just, we're trying to help you. Because we're all we're
not perfect either. I'm not saying that was all cleaned up, that anything,
absolutely,
wouldn't, like I said, there's no such thing as a perfect environment.
No, but there can definitely, there's definitely room for improvement. I'll just leave it there. There's definitely room of improvement,
So I'm curious then, and you can tell me, I don't know. But if they don't take any of these suggestions, and it's exactly how it was when you showed up, would you still go?
We're not going. If it's like that, we're not going. Absolutely not.
I would.
Absolutely not. And I'll listen. Like I said, even if it's just me, I will still hold that reservation if they clean everything out of there, and we go in there and it's a clean investigation. One person in the control room monitoring the cameras, right? Just like the Mount Holly jail.
If they need to, because I think somebody was like, they need somebody there that knows how to get around if something happens.
Sure, one or two. But listen, here's the big thing. Shut up. Put your phone on silent. It's a button. You push a button. You turn your phone on silent. I shouldn't have to hear the ding while we're conducting an EVP session.
Yeah. But even that causes, like, Jossie knows I'm like a
psycho.
Airplane mode.
Airplane mode. Airplane mode.
Right. Well, you have bionic ears. You know what I mean? But, like, for us normal folk, like,
with no superpowers.
Right. We don't have them superpowers. Yeah, I would love to do it. And yes, it's $600. For us,
actually, because I asked for an extra hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for us it's $600, and I think it's between 8 and 10. 8 and 10 people, and like, you know, I'm more than willing. I'll go by myself. I don't give a fuck. You know,
What do you write?
There you go with the ding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, what? Was that it?
Oh man, I was just playing a ding
Yeah,
just to get on you.
you know, but yeah. So there's definitely room for improvement.
Okay, Donna's moving us on. Question: was a time limit specified to ghost hunt investigate this haunted location?
Yeah, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Okay. All right. So 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's what, the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours? 7 hours?
Yeah, but we all left by 11.
Yeah. I was there I left at 8:30.
I was done by 10.
Yeah, we figured. Well, we're sorry. We're just trying to help out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will be angry if they go there to do an investigation and they can't. Any good paranormal investigating team, and all skeptic comments aside, please. Any good team that goes out there is not going to be able to investigate, and they will know that, and they will, I'm sorry that they're taking this the wrong way. This isn't meant.
I hope they're not. Because
Well, they are.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make enemies out of anybody.
But
all right. Yeah, but unfortunately, I think it happens. It's going to happen.
But you know what? I'm not going to let my reputation be tarnished because I can't say what my experience was at a location and let other investigators know if you're going to pay $650 to $850, this is what you're getting. If they don't make those changes, but it doesn't sound like that's what's going to happen. So I would ask before booking.
Wait, catch on a place. But it was set up like a Halloween maze. It's went back.
You know what's interesting? What's interesting about this is that Taryn actually offered to give us all our money back. You know, but I'm like, I legitimately
I felt bad. I was embarrassed, and I for myself because I just felt so bad about the whole thing.
Not at all. So from mine and Eric's standpoint, because I can really only speak for us, because we had a long talk. We had on an 1.5-hour drive back to our homes. The experience for us was really what we went for, right? And we genuinely had a good experience seeing it, right? And experiencing it. And so now we know, for us, it was $120 to, save the team $600, right? If it was going to be like this on March 4th, you know what I mean? So for me to see and I took a lot of really great pictures, I'm one of those kind of Asians. I take pictures of everything,
Share them yet?
Yeah. So I take pictures and video, I take pictures.
You can take really good artsy photos there.
Absolutely.
But
man.
to take pictures and, if somebody was using like night vision or any type of anything, you can't take.
Right. So the IR shadows are fucking everywhere,
and the
man.
lights
Definitely. So I would, I would recommend them turning those lights off in the hallway because you can't shut the doors all the way. And I think for safety reasons, you can't shut the doors, right? Because it is a haunted attraction in October. You can't have people slamming doors on a guy that's chasing you with a chainsaw, right? So the doors it's all set up to where you can't like do all that. But, turn those lights off, unplug all the bullshit, and, let us run a clean investigation, because honestly, if we had caught things on the EVP, right, that we didn't hear, and it was like, really good shit, we have to throw it out because there's so much contamination. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I don't know what the system is with the intercoms. I'd like to know if it's like, if there's a control center, like special button or a microphone, like the old school microphones that you push the button down.
I think if the actors want to talk to them, there's like a button you push.
Right.
They can respond.
Okay. But even those, like, I would insist that they all be unplugged and collected.
And it doesn't take 3 months to do.
Turn them off.
Yeah.
And if you're plugging a heater in there, you see it, unplug it.
Unplug it. Yeah.
Take it away.
You don't have to move it.
Right.
Right.
So let's we're getting near the end. We got 15 minutes. This has been a good discussion, and I want to say before I'm going to let everyone have a chance to give final thoughts, because this is basically a 3TS show with the because this is four. Sorry. Christ.
May the fourth be with you.
Oh man.
Nice.
Oh, there it is.
Oh no.
Don't make them cut your arms and legs off and let you burn.
So I want to just say there's a couple takeaways here, and I want everyone to have a chance to talk. But I also want to say that if the people that are in charge of this, that run these events, if they are watching, and I know some of them were earlier, and I know there's at least one person in there that is, I guess, friendly and or part of their group, that's not happy with what we're saying. But you got to take this as constructive criticism. This is not personal. We're not trashing you. We're not saying the place sucks. We're not saying that. There's a lot of stuff that was brought up tonight, which I think are good points. They're good points, and you should listen to your customers. I mean, honestly, that's how a business is run. You listen to your customers, what kind of feedback they give you, and you adjust accordingly. You know, if it's possible, if it's plausible, if it's doable, then you do it. Because if you want those customers to keep coming, that's great. You make those changes. If you're not going to make those changes, then so be it. You know, maybe there are people that'll come out anyway because they like that kind of environment, and that's cool. I mean, that's no big deal. You guys are bringing up issues that you had while there, and you were one of the first or the first. I don't know. I don't really care about the first thing.
I don't even know either.
You were there, and you're bringing up these concerns. And I know, I know, Taryn, you brought up the concerns with somebody. I don't know which person you brought it up with, but you didn't get much of a response. And I want to also add to that when I spoke with Sky, who is, I think she said that she's the PR person or something like that. Mm-hmm. She did mention that's probably because they're both out of the country, the renter and the organizer. So they're out of the country, which again, I want to make sure everyone understands that I did reach out to them, at least to Larissa, but she's out of the country. She couldn't do it. And it was on short notice. So that's on me. It was very short notice. It was yesterday, I think, that I reached out to them. So it's not their fault that they couldn't be here today. Right. I'm not blaming them at all. But I think these ideas that are coming up needed to be said. It's not throwing people under the bus. It's giving feedback. It's also educating the public. It's giving the public feedback. This is pretty much, it's like when you leave feedback on Amazon or any other site like that. You're leaving feedback, and so people can see what kind of ratings they get, or what kind of comments, what kind of problems. This is not a bus ride. It is not. So you need to get that out of your head. Constructive criticism can hurt. It's hard to swallow, but it's not personal. So I'll get off my soapbox here, and I will throw it over to I'll just go around the room. Let's start with Tim over on this side. Yeah, look at that first try. I got the right.
I get to beat Dave this time. I wasn't there. I'm learning a lot about it just starting today, but listening to the comments, again, my main thought about this was it sounds like they need to pick their customer and either stick with it or put in a lot of effort. Like once the haunted attraction season's over, find a storage place, take all the stuff out, move it to storage. It's work, but it's what I'm going to say a basic investigator is going to want the environment to be. I also kind of wonder if they consulted anybody that's done paranormal investigations, because I kind of get the feel like they might have thought this is going to be a great paranormal investigation and didn't actually know what paranormal investigators are looking for when they come to a place.
So yes, Larissa Rex, that's why she's running the paranormal side of things. She has a team of investigators. They're called paranormal.
Okay.
And
they're not normal.
Be nice. Don't
Donna
make me
in the
shoot you.
corner. Donna in the corner.
And Kenny was worried about me. Everybody
It
was
always
worried
comes
about
from
me.
within.
Everybody
It always
was
comes
like,
from
be
within.
nice, be nice, be nice.
I guess that's to make it quick, just to close.
So yes,
It just if
they were the ones that were supposed to have done the.
Not your turn, Karen.
No, but he asked the question. I was
You answered it. Not your turn. You're next.
I'll make it quick. Of course, it's extra work, but I think it sounds like it can be done. And I think that it sounds like they're getting some good feedback. The haunted attraction looks like a great time. It really does. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. But if you're going to move to an investigative stage, then it just seems like you just need to put the work, the elbow grease, I guess, and move all that stuff out, take it to storage, and probably get other.
Somebody mentioned that it says they're keeping they keep the props out because it keeps its character.
Well, again, I mean, looking at your target audience for your customers, if you want paranormal investigators, you probably want that out.
Yeah.
And make it a clean environment as possible. Because again, going back, controlling an environment that is clean is tough enough. To throw so much stuff else in there, so much other stuff in there, it just really, it contaminates a lot of stuff. So that would just be my feedback, just based on what I heard. It sounds like it's a wonderful place. It looks like a really creepy place. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun for both paranormal investigators and people that want that haunted attraction feel. You just have to really set the stage, and sometimes that takes a lot of effort. But if you're willing to put that in, it sounds like it could be a great place for both.
Yeah. All right, Taryn, it's your turn.
Hashtag Vickard. I'm just saying.
So there's something else. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Ooh, shakalaka.
I'm sorry. That was
Good.
I'm not supposed to be a.
He was joking.
Oh, I thought you were serious. I was like, okay, I'm listening. Oh, you heard he's got to say. Oh, because I was interrupting you. Sorry.
And the light bulb goes on.
Sorry, Kenny. I thought when you were asking the questions, you were asking the questions. I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Taryn.
Can't do it
Final
as good.
thoughts. Final thoughts here.
I don't have any. I said everything that I had to say. I mean, so I'm good with just saying Paranormal Brew Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Shameless plug.
Nice. All right, Mr. Danger.
Yeah, I agree with everything Tim said. If you clear it out, make it a clean environment, I think it's just optimal. Finding your target audience, I don't think there was any research done in that field, right? So if it's just like a movie set tour, right, I think there's money to be made in that. If it's just if you want to make some money, right, Hell House movie set tour, right, but you're not getting $600 off a group of 8 going through there for that. But listen, if there's legitimate paranormal activity there, it's just not it's not a good environment or the optimal environment to collect any kind of evidence the way it is. So you can, I'm pretty sure I see these sponsored ads all the time. It's going to show up now. Pods, right? You can
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Right. Throw all the shit in there, run your paranormal investigation, put all the shit back, do your haunted house. Right. That's it. And really the only other thing I have to say is a huge shout out Sector 12 Paranormal, Columbus Inn. If any of y'all want to come check out the Columbus Inn, you guys are more than welcome.
We'll go
anytime, free of charge. Anybody wants to come see it, let me know. That or the New Egypt Historical Museum. We've gotten a lot of great evidence out of those. Let me know. I'll make sure I put you guys on that list.
Dave.
Thank you.
What's up, buddy?
All right, gonna echo a lot of what everybody else said. This is constructive feedback. It's not meant to throw anybody under the bus or be negative. It is what it is. We're just providing some constructive feedback, and like I tell people at work, you can do with it what you want. Take it or leave it. Is it haunted or not? You don't know. And you don't know because of the amount of contamination and things that are going to complicate and make interpreting any data you collect impossible.
Absolutely.
So that would have to be cleaned up. Market it accordingly. We talked about this. If you want to have it for serious paranormal investigation or research or ghost hunts, serious ones, you're going to have to get rid of those props. You're going to have to change the way you do things. That's just the way it is. If you want people to come in and have fun and have an experience and be on the set of a movie, that's another thing. So look at who you're targeting and think about that. You can do both things, but you have to set it up differently to do that. And it comes down to me, it's priming, expectancy, suggestion, and contamination. Clean those things up if you want to do something serious. If you don't, if you want it to be a true haunted attraction where people are going to show up, have a good time, possibly have an experience, leave them where they're at, because I'm going to guarantee you people will have experiences. I wasn't there. I don't know. Would I like to go and check it out? Of course. If I was going to do anything serious there, the things I just outlined would have to be fixed before I would fork out that kind of money to do any type of research or investigation there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool. All right. Jossie, any last words?
Yeah, I would say I actually love the idea of keeping it as a movie location walkthrough forever. 12 years of the same owner, but there was no history of haunting. I just don't think it's all of a sudden haunted. And I'm sure that they have their reasons. Psychic mediums aren't enough for me, but it was, again, just not a clean place to do a good investigation. But I love the movies. I think the place is worth going to see. It's super cool. Everybody was really, really nice. But this is all just, like you said, constructive and pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Wait.
All right. With
Can I
what, Taryn?
I just want to say one thing. Because now it just hit me because I don't want it to be all negative. I did learn something from this experience. So I'm happy. I want to say I'm happy I did go through this because I obviously had to, because for a lot of reasons. But my main thing is, from now on, when somebody says you're the first team to come in and investigate it, I am going to go scout the location prior to that, so that I know what I'm getting into, whether I'm paying or not. Doesn't matter. I am going to go look and not just be invited to a location. I mean, I did do that months prior in Birdsboro. I don't know why I didn't think. I guess because it's such a high publicized place.
The movie.
Yeah. So, you kind of so I did learn something from it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've had other personalities come on, investigate. That was a while back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, she was
right. And I addressed that. Yeah. Because
she did show up for a little bit.
Several, I think she did. Well, she mentioned it in the chat room, and then Marisha, and then also Sky also mentioned like personalities, and we addressed that early in the show because as I took it, this meant like TV personalities, TV celebrities, which I don't really consider investigators, and I have my own reasons for that. So I'd be happy to discuss them later. Feel free to send me a message, and I'll tell you exactly why. But with that,
and at least one person has to read the disclaimer that everybody's
yeah. I have takeaways here. Number one was read the waiver, Taryn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two is
I wasn't the only one that didn't read that shit.
I know. Well, everyone read the waiver.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Maybe if they could send the waiver to you days before, so you would have time. As well. And if there's something sketchy, you can consult with somebody else about something.
You can ask about it. Yeah.
Shout out April. I love you, April.
Also make sure if it's advertised anywhere as an attraction, then ask about it. Make sure, see if the props are going to be set up.
Well, I was told it wasn't.
If there's a legend, make sure there's a disclaimer that it's made up, so people like Tim don't go down a rabbit hole.
30 minutes. I learned the top 3 serial killers of Pennsylvania and still couldn't find it.
It's amazing where he ends up sometimes.
So funny. So funny. And you know what? Like, I almost debated because I saw you starting to put it in the chat, in our chat, and I was like, I should tell him. But maybe
No.
maybe I should just stoke the fire.
No, you let him go, man. See how far he goes.
Like, Tim, did you check the dark web? Here's a link.
Oh, no.
And there's that Russian porn I talked about. And then the last thing is, depending on your, I guess, agenda, what you plan on doing, it maybe skip the tour. Because I know, like in some places, when you go, you pay to play. If you only get, like you guys had 7 hours available to you, but if some places only give you 4 hours and an hour of that is a tour, sometimes it's not worth it, because you're wasting a lot of time on the tour, which most of the stuff you could probably read online. And again, that's not being mean. If it's online and people are already looking into it to reserve it, they most likely read the history and any information about it. So a tour is probably not needed unless they ask for it.
Well, they said it was they needed to walk us through so we didn't get lost.
And that's fine.
And
that's
then it
fine.
turned into the
right.
The whole.
I would expect someplace like that, especially the way it's set up, that you would have a safety walkthrough. Like these are the exits. This is where you can get out in case of a fire, something like that. But
we didn't get that.
No,
we didn't get
that might be an issue too.
yeah, we didn't get that.
I would.
We got,
especially
like I
if
said,
it's
we got
track.
told all of the spirit, the stuff that.
Were there exit signs? Do
Oh,
you remember any?
I don't think I saw any. I know, like
I guess there have to be, right? I mean, if
maybe
there
I
wasn't-
don't remember seeing
Just
any.
curious. Yeah.
I don't remember
All right.
seeing any.
So, guys, stick around. I'm going to play the outro video, but stick around because I want to debrief afterwards. But everyone, thank you for showing up. Thank you for giving your opinions and bringing up some issues and then discussing them in a friendly, polite, professional manner. I love it. Everyone in the chat room, we had a lot of people in tonight. I'm sure there were some people that didn't want to talk, which is cool. I hope we learned something. I hope you took it as criticism and not personally. And
Constructive criticism.
I mean, criticism is criticism. I take
That's
it. We
fair.
all take it. It's hard sometimes, but we learn from it. And that's the point. So if you have any feedback, feel free to send me a message. I'm available on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching this. You can send me a message. I'll look at the feedback. I'll answer you if I can. If you send me nasty messages, I'll completely ignore you. So other than that, though, again, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. And remember, never stop learning. See you later.